Hi guys, Nate here at MyMod, back again with another video. This one we're going to break down the Riders Republic gameplay preview trailer, and hopefully we can dig in and see that there may be some unknown content that people haven't quite acknowledged when they've watched the trailer. So we're going through an extensive breakdown in this video, so stick around, and hopefully you'll learn one or two new things about Riders Republic that you may have not known before. So if you haven't seen the video just yet, guys, I do have a video to the full gameplay trailer that I haven't interrupted or cut through. Go and watch that first if you've not seen it, and then come back to this video after, and we'll go through the breakdown with you guys. Probably better to watch the video in full before you watch this one, because I will be interrupting the video from time to time. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, go and watch that one and then come back to this. Like a lot of you guys, I'm really excited for this game to come out. So I thought it was well worth me going through it and breaking it down for you guys to see if there was anything that you might not have seen or you've missed in the gameplay trailer when you watched it full through to yourself. So let's get into it.
Welcome to Riders Republic, Adrenaline Junkies. There are no rules here.
I mean, we can see in the first cut what appears to be a fully customized character with smoke canisters wedged in his mask, medals hanging around his neck as well. You could probably expect to be able to change the coloration of these smoke canisters, so when you're racing that you've got your own unique color that you can trail down with. I think that'd be a really cool aspect to, give you some individualism when you race down on the slopes or on the tracks. The medals around the neck maybe could suggest that you unlock these through game progression as well, by completing tasks, events or challenges. And if you've completed gold on a certain amount of challenges, for example, you may get given this gold medal to hang around your neck. So it's maybe a piece that you can show off.
But what's a republic without a constitution?
Here you can see the character perform an emote. It would make sense for the game to have an emote wheel. How this could be implemented into the control scheme is anyone's guess, but I feel like they need something like this in order to build up good interaction and engagement with players.
Am I right? Here's a few truths about how we lay it.
Another character performing a different type of emote, this time in a different location. It's probably worth noting that there is a flat piece of land in this location on the map. If we look back to Steep, there's not much of this due to the nature of the game. But with the introduction of bikes in Riders Republic, expect to see a lot more variation in the topography of them. It also says on this point in the game trailer, everyone invited, everyone united. That begins the first article of this gameplay preview. And it sounds inclusive, which is promising for a massive multiplayer game.
Down. We the Riders welcome all thrill seekers to the...
Now we jump to another character with a different costume style, and you can notice straight away a snow park of some description in the background. There's not a lot to go from other than that it doesn't look completely snowed over, so I can guess that this isn't Mammoth Mountain, and most probably Yosemite Valley or Grand Teton.
Republic.
Another new character model with a new costume. We are basically being shown many different styles, giving the impression that customization is a really strong aspect to this game. The background looks like it's in a similar location to the previous cut as well. Here we are introduced to a costume of a panda. It seems that crazy and silly outfits are a staple of this game. It was certainly the case in Steep, so let's hope that all these amazing stylistic choices aren't locked behind paywalls. Now in this cut we see what appears to be groomed pistes. This would be a nice difference to that found in Steep, where groomed pistes weren't really a thing. The only example being in Japan, and it was a very small part of the map. And it was plain as well, there wasn't a lot to do other than just go down. So maybe they'll be doing something more adventurous in Riders Republic with regards to groomed ski pistes. Another new character model and another new stylistic choice in emote. This one appears to be more urbanized and set for non-winter sports. Also, we noticed the racing track in treetops made of logs. It would be nice to see multiple tracks like this across the map. I would guess that this track will fit perfectly in the Sequoia Park area.
Proponents of madness,
This shot is curious to me because it's in almost like a restaurant setting. Could it be that there is RPG elements that we're not yet aware of in this game? Using food items to boost stats or increase stamina? Who knows? It's an interesting thought, but something tells me that this is merely just a superficial location, and it looked detailed enough to be in the gameplay trailer.
ready for radness. We the Riders salute.
So this, for me, is a really important part of the trailer because it briefly shows you a huge landscape, which will most likely be the Canyonlands area. It looks absolutely huge and interesting to explore with great care and attention that's gone into the detail of the world. We also see what appears to be the craziest challenge I've ever seen in an extreme sports game. The bike looks like a fixed wheel variant of a road bike balancing on a high wire. I'd imagine this gameplay element involved is completely unique to the challenge, probably could not be done in a free roam setting, but don't hold me to it. We also see running water in the background, which looks like rapids. Could be an excellent opportunity to include some whitewater rapid racing, don't you think?
The rationality of irrationality.
The interesting element to this image is that all but one player are on bikes, and then the one on the far right is on skis. It could be that where the environment allows, you can compete against different disciplines in the same event. So, wouldn't it be cool that it give you the freedom to pick whatever you wanted to use in any situation though? Maybe like downhill skiing in the desert, maybe?
We the riders say that friends who slay together, stay together. Gather your best friends.
So now we are starting to see a race event unfold in this shot. You really can get an understanding of scale, and something that Riders Republic look adamant to push is the large multiplayer aspect. It's strange to think that this hasn't been attempted before.
Go crazy, baby.
We find ourselves here in a location called Bear Park, which is probably found in Mammoth Mountain, judged purely on the amount of snow that we see in this location. The snow park looks legit and everything we expect it to be, but the detail that's captured my eye is actually the village in the background. It looks kind of substantial actually and has infrastructure like roads surrounding it and along the hillsides. It appears that they're attempting to actually give a bit more life to this world, because often in Steep you felt completely isolated. Even when you found like a built-up area or a village, it still gave you the impression that no one was there or nothing was going on. What will be interesting is what they plan to do with the built-up areas in this game. Will they have gameplay elements for these locations, or will they just be pointless fillers like what you see in Steep? In this image we see a new trick being demonstrated by the skier. This is movement that is not possible in Steep, so it will appear that the trick set could be completely different to the one found in the previous game. This snowboarder performing the Holy Grail is actually a trick you can perform in Steep, so they're showing you a bit of new and a bit of old in this image.
If you ride, the Republic will abide.
Ah, a familiar method of transport in the jet wingsuit. A returning gameplay mechanic from Steep. This dynamic tracking shot shows us the Ridgeline mountain bike races in what appears to be the Canyonlands. These races actually look pretty intense, with narrow passages and large numbers of racers all trying to compete for the space. This could make for really exciting gaming moments.
Go rogue or go home.
Lots of soft cuddly costumes on display here. I think I'll be more inclined to go for the branded gear, but something hilarious about Steep was that on the odd occasion you'll see like a giraffe costume with its neck and head flapping down in the wind. For me it adds a touch of hilarity when you're trying to focus and get down the mountain. But in this shot we see costumes for pandas, bunnies, giraffes and even a velociraptor. Also something worth noting is the different tricks you can see for each discipline.
We the riders.
Besides extreme sports, we also get to look at our first road bike event. Something that did catch me by surprise was the inclusion of this particular bike type. I was pleasantly surprised by it, although if I'm going to guess which sport will be the most unpopular, it's probably going to be this one. We also see mountain bikes performing transfers over the roads above the race. I think this is purely for entertainment purposes, and I very much doubt that you can overlap races with free roaming or other events.
Insist that you do you always.
So I'm really excited to see that you can perform these SSX influenced tricks on the snowboard now. Steep kept it realistic, which is totally fine, but this added dimension in Riders Republic is going to really go down well with the player base in my opinion.
Outrace, out-trick, outperform. And gain some cred by sharing the magic with the rest of the Republic. We the riders claim the right to pair the best gear.
So this little sequence shows you the different types of bikes you can use in Riders Republic. It shows that they're actually taking this discipline as seriously as the snowboarding or the skiing elements that you find in Steep, for example. This rolling shot shows what appears to be Zion, which can be found in the core of the map. And this image demonstrates just how much quicker the road bike is to the trails or the mountain bikes that are lagging quite far behind. So these next two shots we see branded boards and skis. It's an indication that there is real life companies and sponsorships involved in this game. For an extreme sports game, this is always a bonus. Behind the skier in this shot we see a snow park built into a resort that has a lot of character and it looks compelling to explore.
Boards, planks, bikes or wings, whatever bakes your cake.
So ouch, we find an unfortunate player who has crashed on landing here. What we see actually is really impressive ragdoll effect. You know, one thing I really hate is too limber ragdolls because it just looks so unrealistic. At least with this one you can see a little bit of strain or some resistance to the animation, and it really does create a more realistic experience and makes the crashes 10 times better in my opinion. So they're showing us here all the different bike types and brands that Riders Republic has to offer. I think that this is going to contribute massively to the popularity of this game. As far as I'm aware, I don't think there's been a biking game to date that has this much detail added to it. So for that community of mountain bikers in real life are probably going to get quite attached to a game like this, if they're into video games of course.
Freestyle, slopestyle, enduro, or downhill. As you grow, the drip gets so slick, and it'll help you drop bigger cliffs.
X Games makes a welcome return from Steep, and so it should. X Games fits the bill for this particular type of game. Expect there to be exclusive competitions and events with unique unlockable items. And it wouldn't actually be nice as a suggestion that these X Games competitions were actually live events placed around the map, or had dedicated weekend events that you could qualify for and then compete in. Winning these events would award you with exclusive accolades or clothing options that you can show off to the community. I think those, could be quite good ideas. NPCs are also present in this segment. Not that there wasn't any in Steep, but there were very few and they were poorly animated. So could they also be implemented into the free roaming world for Riders Republic? Could you see NPC snowboarders and skiers going down the mountains just with you and your friends or other players? Who knows at this point, but I think it would make sense to do this if you wanted to inject some kind of atmosphere into the world.
We the Riders assure epic events to build your rep.
Welcome to X Games. It's time to
Red Bull events will also be a thing in Riders Republic. The dialogue in this section of the trailer states that you can qualify for big time events. This would suggest that there should be some kind of single player career element, but it would be especially cool if your career was integrated into a multiplayer rather than single player. That's just my opinion. I think people should have the option to be able to do single player or multiplayer, but if you could tie the career into the multiplayer as well as the single player, I think you're on for a winner.
make some history.
Sign with hot sponsors and qualify for big time competitions. Make a name for yourself. We never stop doing things for the first time.
Red Bull Rampage, the harshest and most
So here we see what appears to be real gameplay video, just minus the HUD or the heads-up display. What has been taken into account, from what I see, is the level of detail that has gone into creating the rider and the bike animations. I feel as good as watching a CGI movie at this point, so Godspeed, all for it.
unforgiving canvas for big mountain free riders. Shoot! That was out of the creek bed! Oh, snap! Huge amplitude!
We are then shown a first-person view of the same event. This camera angle must be a feature of the gameplay, as it would be a real tease to not include some kind of a first-person element to the game, but then show it in the trailer. So it must be a camera type. In Steep, there was a first-person mode. It was called GoPro mode. It was far too jittery and horrible to play with, though. There needs to be drastic improvements done here if it's going to be taken seriously in Riders Republic. And from the look of this segment, They have kind of stabilized the camera enough for it to be usable by the looks of it, but we'll just have to see when the game comes out.
I can't even begin to express how technical that was. These are the gnarliest jumps I've ever seen in one row. Oh, massive run. That's gonna be tough to beat.
So when I first heard about Riders Republic, I was really worried that the enormity and scale that we see from locations found in Steep would not be applied to the new game. Because I do like the size of the enormity. The one thing I don't like about Steep is the lack of content from within the map. So that's my one downfall about having a large map. But I didn't want to see the map be shrunk completely for Riders Republic. Thankfully, from this image, I don't have to worry at all. This section of the map in Yosemite Valley is just one small piece to a much larger puzzle. And seeing this makes me very happy.
We the riders.
Paragliding is also present in Riders Republic. Not too often demonstrated from the trailer, as it would appear, and this is not going to be a main race discipline, I would say. I can see this being more of a utility device that helps you traverse the extreme terrain easier.
Invite you to leave the roads and take the trails.
Bears make an appearance in Riders Republic as well, amongst other animals. It is not known yet what the purpose of wildlife in this game will be. I'd imagine they're just there to create some atmosphere or to make observations. Maybe there'll be wildlife challenges, like documenting them to unlock things. It really is up for debate at this point. But here we see an American brown and a black bear together, which would never be the case in real life.
Explore the land. Climb.
A small cul-de-sac of lodges are seen in this image. Will they tie these locations to particular gameplay elements, or are they just there for your viewing pleasure? Yes, I did notice the red pickup truck too. Is driving going to be a way to get around quickly? Something tells me no, but we can always dream.
The peaks. Roam the natural world. After all, it's bad manners to keep the mountains waiting.
So here's a really cool element to the video that we weren't expecting to see. We have a huge chunk of the Riders Republic map shown to us, which gives us great insight into what the map looks like and just what kind of scale we can expect. Could this be changed upon release? Unlikely, considering how far into production it is now, but in the past, GTA, for example, released trailers of maps that were actually quite different to the ones that you see in the finished game. So you can expect maybe some differences, but only very little at this point. An establishing shot of Bryce Canyon here. What really is striking about this environment is the huge sandstone tabletops and pillars that you see. But if you look hidden in the trees, you'll see multiple trail routes that add so much dimension to this particular landscape. I don't think we are going to be limited in choice in this game. Here's a wider frame of the village in Mammoth Mountain. Looks like there could be a lot of freestyle capability here. As much as the park looks densely packed with ramps, it also still looks pretty barren, minus the players in the shot. But also, the more I look at this image, the more confused I get about it. It seems to have no particular flow or direction. Could this mean that some snow parks have more of a skate park vibe instead of it starting at the top of the hill and finishing at the bottom? Quick introduction to Zion here, an area of the map that looks sculpted mainly for the road bike events as seen with the long winding tarmac roads. It also looks like you can get some decent low altitude close proximity flights in too. Snowmobiles! A hidden asset to this trailer. It would appear that you use this in order to traverse mountain ranges or finding the ultimate line that couldn't be accessible any other way. One thing that could ruin this particular transport type is that the helicopter tickets that give you fast travel to any location. It could be that it's a discipline in its own right and it has its own events and trick sets. That's something that's definitely not confirmed just yet, but let's hope they make it so. One last thing about this image is that it takes place at night as well. And I thought from this that a dynamic weather system with a day and night cycle would be an incredible thing to include. If not, then the weather selection tool seen in Steep is still a welcomed addition. It's probably one of the best weather selection tools I've ever seen in a video game. This segment that is shot in the Grand Teton region, which sits in the northeast of the map. Well, this next image is totally bonkers in my opinion, but I love it. I absolutely love it. There's a real sense of character in this map, just from observations of the trailer. So notice the lines of players either side of the frame as well. This actually suggests to me that this is the start of an event and players are getting ready to shred.
We the Riders guarantee a ton of insane contests all the time. There's trick battles to grind your way through.
So realism has clearly been thrown out of the window for this game, but I think this is for the better. You know, I get a real SSX freestyle event vibe coming from this, and I hope that they boost areas like this with atmosphere such as crowd noises, announcers coming through loudspeakers, and sound effects that just keep it engaging. They have clearly taken a page out of SSX's book. I don't think I've ever seen a loop-to-loop rail before. The voiceover in this section of the trailer states that competitions will take place all the time in Riders Republic. So hopefully with all that online capability, this will really bode well for the live events that this game so desperately needs.
Do it with your crew and show them who's boss. And join community challenges like...
This is what I'm buying the game for personally. Heavy duty mass races, as the announcer suggests, is somewhat of a cross between a BR, a battle royale, and Fall Guys. Kind of a weird combination, but it has that get to the end by any means necessary vibe. I don't know about you, but seeing 50 plus online players plummet to the bottom of the mountain is going to make for some really insane gameplay moments. The scale of these races just looks incredible. I think that they're onto a very unique selling point with this game. It could really take off if the balancing is done correctly.
Heavy-duty mass racing. Yeah! Reach that finish line first, Ryder.
And a bunny. Thank God Ellie from The Last of Us isn't in this game. So there you go, Riders. There's my breakdown of the gameplay trailer for the new game. What do you guys think? Is there anything that I've missed out as well? Leave it in the comments. I will get back to you guys. Hopefully we can start a good discussion about this game. I can't wait to see some more trailers as well. Hopefully, you know, from some of the press conferences I've been reading at Ubisoft, that they are looking to bring out some more content for the E3 period this year. So I'll be covering as much of that as I can. Probably every last little detail, because I'm looking that forward to the game coming out. So guys, if you are looking for any news, information about Riders Republic in the future, you know that I'm your guy for it. I'm going to be pushing Riders Republic as much as I can. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video. There's more Riders Republic content coming your way very, very soon. I'll make sure of it. So stick around, guys. Like it, subscribe it, and comment to make sure that I'm doing my job for you guys, because all this content is for the fans, for the community. You take care, and I'll see you in the next one.